Hello beautiful person, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing a full start to finish mixing guide. I'm really excited to do this because my band for band kit just dropped and it's like the perfect time to do another one of these. We'll be following the philosophy that's based around, so you can use the free demo or the full version, which will both be linked down below. Also grab my free 14 drum kit, join my Discord, check out my EPK if you're new, and since I didn't cut out any gems for this video, let's just go ahead and jump right into it because it's going to be a fun one. Thank you so much for pulling up. Let's get started. Okay, so first thing is first, we're gonna give the beat a listen, and there is nothing on the master, nothing at all. I'm gonna show you all 125 of my tracks right now. We've got nothing, just some hard drums, dope splice melody, sample texture that I created from this kind of like accent texture that's from one of my multi-kits called Shadow. And so here is the beat that we've got so far. That shit is hard, but it is definitely in some need of some mixing, so that's what we're finna get into. The first thing we're gonna do is set up our signal flow so that our actual mixing is seamless. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into the mixer. Let's go ahead and grab all the tracks at the end from about 110 to 125, and we'll right click them and we'll dock them to the right so that we have a bunch of stuff for sends and buses and stuff like that. So the first thing we're gonna do is name them. And so once we've got all of that, we need to take both of the melody tracks, so the melody bus and the melody send, and we route them both to the melody composite. And then we'll take all three of these drum tracks, so big drum bus, little drum bus, and drum verb send, and we'll route them to the drum composite. But then we'll also send the big drum bus and the little drum bus to the drum verb as well. Then we'll route the sub bus and the sub send to the tonal track only, and then we'll also send the sub bus to the sub send, and then we'll take the melody composite, the drum composite, and the tonal composite also, and then we'll route all of these to the pre-master. And now we have our signal flow perfectly set up. Now there's one more thing I do want to do, and that's set up my kind of side chaining signal flow as well. And again, we'll see how all of this works out as we do begin to mix. So I'm just going to take the big drum bus and I'm going to side chain that to my melody composite. So I'll right click that, side chain to this track, and then I will also side chain the big drums to the little drums as well. Boom. And then our signal flow is all set up. So the last thing I'll do is go ahead and just take the melodies and route them to the mixer so that everything is in the mixer and we can get right to mixing right away with band for band. So we'll come in here and we'll route that first melody into that one track. Take the tracks for the accent melodies, and that'll be the second melody, and then we can route all of our drums to the mixer as well. Command Shift L to route them en masse, and boom. And then we can actually set up the flow for each track now, and we can get into mixing. So we're gonna send the melody to this melody bus and we'll unsend it from the master, and then that's kind of how all this signal flow works. And a quick note is that this is not necessarily a signal flow guide, so that's why I'm kind of skipping over the explanation for you. But in case this is just like blowing your mind right now, I do have a signal flow guide in the full guides playlist link below, so do check that out because I promise you it's nothing mystical, and once you kind of grasp it, which you should be able to from that point, you can come right back here and this will make perfect sense to you. It's really good stuff. It'll really help your mixing. But anyway, same thing here. Take this, route it to the melody bus. Oh, and also we want the melody bus to be sending to that verb send as well. Pretty important, but I would have caught it anyway. But I wanted to make sure I made a note of that in this video. Boom. We take the 808, send it to the sub bus, unsend it from the master. And now we can take our big drums, which is just this kick and this main snare. We can highlight both of them. And we can route to this track only, which is going to send it to the big drum bus. And then we can take the rest of our drums and route it to the little drum bus right here, routes to this track only. And now everything in our beat is perfectly routed. Now it sounds super distorted because like the sends, for example, don't have any like wet only effects on it yet, so it's literally just doubling some of the tracks. So the drum verb, for example, is literally doubling the big drum bus and the little drum bus, and like the melody send is doubling the melody, so on and so forth. The 808 is getting like tripled up by this entire signal flow. So the next step, we're going to get into actually mixing this, and it's going to sound incredible by the end. So we can go ahead and jump right into leveling. And we're gonna begin with the big three concept that we talked about in a couple of videos ago. That requires me to start with my kick, but since we have to add some effects to stuff first, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the sends and add the drum room verb so that we're not doubling up on our drums anymore with my kick soloed. I'm gonna listen to that, and now we're gonna begin to mix. That's clipping pretty hard, but I do like to just come into these single slots, go to the patcher stacks, and then add a cleanly clipped preset onto this. And I just like the way that makes my kick sound, and then from there I like to level it in. And like I was saying in that video from the other day, I do like to just have my kick stupidly loud, pretty much getting as close to zero as I can. I like to take up as much of that as I can with the kick. And then I'll take a look at everything in my signal flow so far. And since I'm already clipping, looking at it, and as you can see, I don't have any clippers going except for that first preset. If we open that up on the kick, I'll show you what's on there. It's an equalizer and a soft clipper. Soft clipper has basic settings. Equalizer just has a cut, like we explained in the 5 easy hacks video a couple of days ago. And so I'm looking at everything, and I do see some clipping coming through to my drum composite, so I'm going to see if I can handle that on my big drum bus. And this is getting into my clipper cascade concept that I was talking about last month. So we'll open up Fruity Soft Clipper and see what that does, and that seems to have taken care of the clipping issue. Now, and I like to just resolve my clipping like that, so I can kind of fix it and then move on to the next thing instead of kind of clipping and mass at the end of my mix. And I've just noticed that makes things sound a lot cleaner, adds a lot of transparency to my mix. And as I was talking about in that easy hacks video, I just love transparency in my mix whenever I can get it, and clippers cascades just really helps with that. So now we're going to bring in the main snare. Again, we're thinking big three here. And then now I'm bringing in the 808. I have to turn on my sub bus. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add my stereo for the 808 right now. So I've got a preset for that in band for band. So I've got some digital clipping going on there. I'm gonna see how much of that I can solve with sidechaining first. So I'm gonna go to the tonal composite, and I'm gonna add a fruity limiter, and actually I have a preset for this. So we're gonna come back into single slots and add the basic sidechainer right on top of this. And then we're gonna send the big drum bus into this signal, and then we're gonna adjust this just a little bit. I think I want that way more transparent, so let's reduce the ratio a lot actually. And that helped a lot with that digital clipping already. I'm gonna go ahead and add this cleanly clipped preset. And so we talked a lot about this one, especially the other day in that easy hacks video. This EQ right here, especially around 200 hertz, is just gonna help your 808 sit so much cleaner in your mix, and it's gonna help unmask it from your melodies, because as I was saying, the fundamental character in a lot of dope, instruments happens in this frequency range. So if you can really get your low end to sit really well by using this EQ cut with the rest of your melodies, I mean, I'm telling you, it's gonna bring so much. This is one of the most game-changing things I've learned about mixing, bro, in probably the last 2 years. And that's got my 808 sitting even cleaner. All right, now we have to bring in the melody. The first thing I'm gonna do is actually mix the melody. So let's just do that. And because it's the other thing in our big three. So first of all, let's add the convolution send so that the signal is not doubled anymore. And that's got some side chaining, so we can set that up right now as well to receive signal from the melody bus and have that convolution blend in a little bit better. Then we can add a melody bus preset. And let's go ahead and turn on the compression for that. There's a slight equalization. The exciting just adds a little bit of saturation, and the compression is simple compression to kind of squeeze out a little bit of that dynamic range and make my melodies sound a little bit more clear in the mix. The next thing I'm gonna do is add some EQ and delay with another preset. Basic melody patch should work pretty nice for that. And then let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and convert this to an analog shelf. as we were talking about the other day. That's just going to sound a lot more transparent for our mix. Same thing up here. I'll change this to an analog shelf. That's nice. Maybe we can add a little bit of flavor to this too with this melody coloration preset. I like that. Let's add this and see what it sounds like. All right, let's see if we can mix that and blend it with like the rest of our melody. Okay, let's do some frequency unmasking. So let's go ahead and grab another basic melody preset stack, and we'll use the EQ inside of the patcher. So let's take a look at where this melody's performing in the EQ. Probably starting at that 300 up to right around that 1K. Okay, cool. So let's come here. We'll open this up on the piano accent, and we'll EQ around that range to kind of unmask our melodies a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna compress this with this free compressor, MJUC Jr. And then I'm also gonna compress this melody in context with the other one, but I'm gonna use Fruity Limiter. Tight, and then let's add some makeup gain. All right, now let's bring in the other, this just sounds crazy, by the way. Now let's bring in the other elements of our big three and kind of mix this into context. So technically we've got to mix these from off to on. OD frequency masking, so I'm gonna go ahead and just turn on this EQ that I have on here. First thing I'm gonna do is delete this and then use the analog shelf instead. But yeah, I'm gonna turn this on. See if I can unmask my melody bus from my tonal bus. The next thing I'm gonna do is set up the side chaining to my melody bus. We could just use the preset because it's faster than trying to set it up all the way every time. Maybe a little bit of saturation on that melody composite. All right, let's bring in that second melody. All right, and now we can add some top of chain clipping on the pre-master. From here, it is just about leveling in all the sounds in context. So let us go through that. First thing I'm gonna bring in is the hi-hat. I really like to start with that pretty much every time. So let's go ahead and turn on our little drum bus. And then I like to set up the side chain right away on the little drum bus as well. So again, and now I've got some clipping going on that drum composite, and we can just hop open a soft clipper, or I would, except that I don't know if I want to push gain into that. So I want to go ahead and go grab my top of chain clipper instead, because I never know, honestly. And we've got that clipped up now. And that's just sounding dope. I just want a little bit more gain allowance with this hi-hat. Go ahead and just EQ all my drums that aren't bass, just to free up some of that low end with the console EQ. It's a pretty good technique to adopt, honestly. Alright, so the last thing I like to do with my beats is just a little bit of metering, and I do that with just a regular like LUFS meter, just to see what kind of loudness it's at. I don't really mix to any specific levels, especially not like the however people interpret it is not how I'm interpreting it. And it's like pretty common consensus amongst like, you know, the people who know what they're doing for the most part from my observation, that if you're mixing to like -14, your beat is gonna be softer than baby shit. So you definitely don't want to do that. But I like to just look at my loudness. So that's the first one I'm gonna look at really quickly. So I'm gonna go ahead and start playing the beat and then open up this free meter that I like called DP meter on the master. Like around -9 is actually not bad. I really like that. Damn, that's a lot of loudness, period. And it's sounding super clean. So I like how it looks, and it just looks good. It looks good, and the mix sounds clean considering the amount of loudness. I couldn't ask for anything better. So the next thing I'm gonna take a look at is tonal balance. So let's pop that open. All right, so we've got tonal balance, and it already opens the bass heavy, which is the preset that I like to reference, and we'll switch it to fine. And again, we'll just take a listen and kind of look at what's going on. That shit damn near perfect except for some low end grumble on that bass apparently. So we can definitely fix that probably by just going to the tonal bus and doing a little bit of EQ. So let's keep that open. Close the browser and let's open up a neutron equalizer on the tonal bus really quickly. Wow, I wasn't even noticing that. That's crazy, bro. To maybe hit it in this frequency just a little bit too. Right around in that dip area that we were talking about the other day. It was a little bit low in the mid, so I'm gonna add a little bit of saturation in the mix using Radiator on the melody composite. Oh yeah, that looks so good. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit of that disco smile EQ on the pre-master. So let's go ahead and just chain something right under here on the pre-master. Top of chain, and we'll just add a neutron equalizer. And we'll just do a little bit of a boost at 2K. Oh, wow. That's clean as fuck. Bro. I mean, bro, that's it. That's mixing, bro. So I hope you learned something really dope. Go ahead and ask me some questions down below. If you did have any questions, check out the full guide playlist link below. It's got a bunch of good stuff. And then check out this video appearing on the screen if you want to learn just a really quick rundown of the absolute fundamental aspects of my mixing process. I love you so much. I'll see you there. Peace.